Hi friends, I hope you're doing well. My name is Dejana. I write primarily sci-fi, fantasy, and horror, but in the coming year, I also plan to do some experimenting in the romance genre, so if you are interested, subscribe. There's more to come. Speaking of the upcoming year, today's video is going to be a review of 2024 and then also a look ahead at what I have planned for 2025, at least up into the first quarter. I'm not entirely sure how long this video will end up being, so I encourage you to grab a beverage or a snack and settle in. And also in the comments below, let me know what you're most proud of achieving in 2024 and a goal that you've got your mind set on completing for 2025. We can root for each other in the comments. So I've seen a couple people call these videos like the writer wrapped a la Spotify wrapped, and I think that's super fun, so I'm rolling with it. This will be my year in review. Being very honest though, I'm not the greatest with goals. I'm not the best at setting myself up in a way that makes it so that I can make progress that I can track throughout the years and do things in a way that I keep up with it. A prime example of this is my bullet journal, which I put my goals for this year in and then promptly forgot about. I didn't even think about it again until I was scripting for this video and was like, what were my goals for 2024? I didn't bring it over here, but I made this beautiful bullet journal and I put a lot of work up front into making it something that was usable for both reading and writing. And I kept up with it for 5 months, maybe 6 months. And then off it went to be forgotten and collect dust on my dresser. So for making this video, I reviewed what I actually wrote as my goals, and we'll go over it right now. I will quickly review my reading goals. I have a different channel for reading stuff, but they're all together in one book. So I'm gonna just quickly review them right now. I'm gonna read off of my notes. So the first goal was to finish 50 books. As of filming this right now, I'm at 122. So all done. Next was to finish Demon Slayer, which I finished in January. The next was to catch up with the JJK manga, which I did in January, and then I actually finished the entire thing in November when it completed. I also put read daily, which is super annoying because basically I read 122 books and finished these other goals, but I have to say that I failed because I did not read daily. I've read way more than normal and my consistency is way up, but I did not read daily, so that one is a fail. I also put read 20 books from my physical TBR like backlist, and I was gonna just automatically put that I failed that, but I went through my Goodreads list for this year and I actually read, of the 20, 19. And that is so amazing for me. I'm the type of person who will just buy new books and read those instead of reading what I already own. It's a bad habit. I'm working on it, but I got 19 done, so amazing. So of my 6 writing goals, I finished 4, and then one was badly worded and the other one so close. The light in my room got weird, so I moved some things around, so that's why the lighting is a little bit different. I'm so sorry. We continue. So let's actually talk about the things that we're here for, and that is the writing goals. My first goal I'm annoyed by, for the same reason I was annoyed by the reading goal. I put write daily. I for sure did not write daily. I feel like I should have set myself up a little bit better when I wrote that goal, because I had no intention of writing daily, and so I failed it. Set myself up there though. Also going to tack on the next 2 goals just because these 3 all go together. When I discuss them, they all kind of fit together. So the second goal was to track my writing sprints, which I did not do for the entire year, so it's a fail. And then the third goal was for me to finish the first draft of my fantasy novel, which I did do. And then let's discuss them all together though. I started my fantasy project on January 1st of 2024. It was really a huge project for me. It was my first like foray into second world fantasy, any kind of true fantasy project. I had characters that I loved, a story that I loved, and I did a lot of pre-work in 2023 and a lot of outlining and planning and just sitting on the project before I started on January 1st, because I wanted it myself to be as ready as I could be to write this book. So my goal was to write 1 draft of this fantasy project in 2024, and I actually wrote 2, and I'm, as of filming this video right now, a quarter of the way through a 3rd draft. So even though I failed my other goals, I still am doing pretty good, I would say. I did use a tracker for the 1st and 2nd drafts, and I did not write daily, but I wrote pretty close to daily for the 1st draft, and I took a break, and then the 2nd draft. I'm going to just read off my computer, but I will pop up the stats that I kept track of with this tracker. So I started draft 1 on January 1st and then finished on May 25th with a word count of 243,994 words. She's thick. We're not surprised. I had 11,203 minutes, or 187 hours of sprint time, 497 sprints total, and then a daily word count average of 1671 and a sprint average of 491 words. So your girl got it done, and honestly loved the 1st draft. Not perfect, it was a 1st draft, but we love her. In June I started draft 2, and my goal for that really was to cut things down, because a 244,000 word book, whether I'm doing trad or indie, is too long. So my goal was to cut things down as much as I possibly could without affecting the story, because either way it's a 4 POV story, and I knew it was going to be long, and I don't think that there's any way I can make it not be long, but I just didn't want it to be that long, so I was doing some chopping. So from June 7th to August 18th I worked on draft 2, and I cut it down to 214,522 words, so just about 30,000 words I cut. She's great. We love her. She's leaning out just a little bit. I cut a lot, and I'm honestly so proud of that. I feel like the story was only got better. Even though I was cutting things out, I was really tightening up the story and working on the pacing, and I'm just really proud of how draft 2 turned out. So I do think all of, like I said, the outlining and planning that I did way ahead really helped me have a vision of where the story was going and a direction. I was not lost at any point in time. There are, of course, things like motivations I didn't really think of until they pop up, and I'm like, oh, why would they do this, or things like that. But overall, I felt really steady. I felt my progress was really steady, and there was nothing that I really was tripped up on for long periods of time. So I was happy about that. And like I said, draft 1 was a draft 1. Draft 2 is a draft 2, meaning I don't think it's perfect. Even as we speak, I'm working on draft 3 and I'm chopping away at her still. I was saying to some of my friends, it's funny because when I did draft 3 and I cut 30,000 words, I was like, there's nothing else that I can cut from this. It's done. That's as far as I can go. And then a couple months later, I open up chapter 1 and I cut 1,000 words, and I cut 1,000 words from chapter 2. I think where I'm at right now, I've added a chapter and I've still cut 7,000 words. And I'm like just getting into Acts 2 now. So we're making progress. We're making moves. It's fine. But yeah, I've been consistently thinking, and like, not to toot my own horn, but I've been consistently thinking as I've been reading through this project that even though it's not perfect, it's the best writing that I've done so far. And I think that's really nice, to be able to recognize myself. I feel like we spend so much time as a writer alone, and working alone, and worrying alone, and doubting ourselves. So it's nice to look back at this project and be like, man, like I am making progress. All my efforts are for something, because my writing is getting better, my storytelling is getting better, we're making moves. So it's been a nice overall process to write this book, even though it's massive and a lot of work. So anyways, like I said, I do have to give myself a fail for these writing goals, because I did not write daily, and outside of draft 2, I did not continue to track my writing for the year. So she's a fail. But I did finish draft 1. So I'm super proud of that. That one I get a check mark for. Next goal was to send this fantasy project and have it read by critique partners. This one is also a fail. And it's actually a goal that I'm taking into 2025. I've had bits and pieces of this book read by critique partners and friends, but nobody has actually read the entirety of the project. I don't really have a critique group, so one of my goals going into the next year is to find my people and hold on to them for dear life. If you have any recommendations on finding critique partners or critique groups, please leave them down below. I'm eager and ready for my people. It's also like a dream of mine to have like an in-person meeting, like at a cafe or a library, and doing either like body doubling or just gushing about our projects and working through stuff together. That is a dream of mine. However, as a Canadian, I kind of have accepted that that's probably not going to happen. So a girl can dream. My last writing goal is kind of funny because I didn't work on it at all. I forgot about these goals, so am I surprised? No. The goal was to submit to 6 short story openings in 2024. I'm almost 100% sure that not only did I not submit, but I didn't work on short stories almost at all in 2024. There's one that I can think of that I did work on. I did not complete it. And yeah, this goal left my brain as soon as I wrote it down, is what I'm thinking. As an aside, I do have a 3-part video series coming, revisiting short fiction, because I have accumulated quite a few short stories that I've either not completed or I've completed and not done anything with. So that will be a series that will be coming up. If you want to see me struggle through a medium that I'm not super familiar with, subscribe. I'll be here. So of the 5 goals that I made for myself for writing, I completed 1. Now, it was the most important one of the 5, but it still stings just a little bit that it was only 1. I also wrote a little over 6,000 words in a horror story that I made a video about, that I will be returning to the back burner to simmer for a little longer. She needs to percolate a little bit longer. But with that added in, I wrote about 250,000 words this year. And that's pretty dang good, I think, right? So did I fail my goals? Yes. Am I upset about it? No, not really. I did a lot of good work, and not only did I feel like I made a lot of progress with writing, I feel like I did a good job of prioritizing myself. Like when I wanted to take time off, I did. I enjoyed my summer. I went out with my friends. I traveled. Essentially, I enjoyed myself when I wanted to, and then I worked my ass off when the time came around. So in the end, I have a book in progress that I'm really happy about, so, and I'm really proud of. So 2024, the goals were a fail, but the progress, I think, was pretty good. So let's move on to 2025. I'm not sure how familiar everybody is with Sarah Canon. I will link her 2 channels down below. Essentially, she's an indie published author who has a huge planning and productivity community in both the writing but also just the general productivity space. Last year, I believe, I signed up for her HB90 course, which essentially plans your year in quarters, and it helps you make like smart, actionable goals based on your actual time. I actually tried to do it before, but one thing kind of led to another and I fell off. This year I decided to return to it, but I wanted to be really honest about how much time and energy that I would have to work after work. That was where I kind of messed up when I did it the first time. Is you see this schedule and you're like, I have so much time, let me pack it all in. But then I come home from work and I'm exhausted and I didn't give myself any time to decompress. I gave myself time to shower and walk the dogs and then right to work. And that's, by the way, not how you're supposed to do it. So I feel like that contributed to why it didn't work out. So this year, this quarter, I was honest with myself about how much time I would and would not be spending writing after work and on the weekends. For anybody who wants kind of a sneak peek into this method without the commitment of a course, I'm gonna link 2 videos down below. One of them is Sarah, it was a live workshop that Sarah did recently, going over making a writing plan for 2025. And part of what she does is part of the HB90 course. And then the other video is Sarah setting up a Notion tracker for the goals in this course. I'm more of a on the computer type of girly, so luckily she made this tutorial on how to set everything up in Notion, and that's what I did. And I love it. So both those videos will be linked down below for you to check out if you're interested. So the idea of HB90 is to plan quarterly and to break down your goals into smaller projects, and then below those projects you have very small tasks. Basically, this lets you like check off things and see that you're making progress even if whatever you're working on is going to take you a year. Like, you break it down nice and small so you can be like, yep, I did this, check it off. Or move the little sticky note down, and you can look back on all the things that you have done, even though you have a book to write, edit, publish, market, whatever. The show lets you make small steps and feel like you're making progress. The thing is that you are only allowed 3 goals per, a maximum of 3 goals per quarter, so you're not getting overwhelmed, as I likely would be if it was anything more than 3. So I will stop with the HB90 stuff now. I encourage you to check out Sarah Canon if you're interested. I am not sponsored, affiliated in any way, shape, or form. I just like the method and wanted people to know that it was not mine. It was somebody else's who put a lot of work into it. There's lots of videos out there about the method, including from Sarah herself, so please check her out if you're interested. Let's talk about my goals. So my 3 goals for the first quarter of 2025 are: create a writing habit by writing/editing for 45 minutes for 90% of my designated writing days. Second goal is to have my fantasy project ready to query or begin draft 4. Then my third goal is to increase my YouTube subscribers by 20, 30, or 50%. As you can see, these goals are a little bit better worded and organized than just write daily. So for goal number 1, I fell off the writing habit in August/September after I sent my fantasy book off to an editor, and basically I want to work back up to the productivity that I had in early 2024, because I felt that I got a lot done without moving into the toxic productivity space. So I set my goal as 45 minutes, not a word count, and it's something that's very doable day to day. And then I put 4 designated writing days. In that live workshop, I basically went through my whole year, but for planning this quarter, I went through my quarter and marked off any holidays, any birthdays, any days that I'm working, weekends that I'm working. I subtracted them completely from my work days, and for the quarter I was left with 76 designated writing days. To be successful in my goal, I wanted to write for 90% of those 76 days, which is 68 days. So I need to write for 45 minutes for 68 days to succeed, although 76 would also be nice. So we'll see. For goal 2, I chose more of an outcome goal. I need to finish draft 3 and get feedback from betas and critique partners, and then from that feedback choose my path forward. So that's why I put either query or do another draft. I think I'll be done draft 3 before the end of January, which will give me about 2 months to recruit betas and give them lots of time to read, and then give myself time to go through their feedback. You'll also notice in this goal that I said query. I'm gonna make a video sometime soon, but I've been sitting on the fence between trad and self-pub for a long time, and I've decided, at least for right now, with no feedback on my story, like this might change once I get some feedback, but I'm going to give trad a shot and would like to query in Q2 or Q3 if all goes well and the betas give me the green light. Then for goal 3, I chose a good, better, best percentage for my YouTube subscribers. I really do like making YouTube videos. I also like looking back on my progress, not only as a writer, but also as like a speaker. I can definitely see that and feel that I'm way more comfortable now than I was when I first started making videos, and it's just fun to keep track of that in the long run. I want to be more consistent with writing and reading and content creation. So I put this goal here to kind of keep myself accountable. As of right now, I have videos planned into the end of February. So I really just need to find my flow with filming, editing, around work and writing, but I'll get there. I'm working on it. So it's in my goals, and hopefully it will keep me accountable and keep me making these videos. Also, if there's anything specific that you would like to see or would like me to discuss, leave them down below and I will keep note. To track these 3 goals, I will mostly be using Notion, where I've written out every individual step to check off as I progress. It's set up so I can see the Kanban version, where I can move things, as I said, to do, doing, done, as well as a calendar where I can view what I've assigned myself for each day. And then I also have a week at a glance view, so I'm not overwhelmed with the entire quarter's things to do. I also made a really simple Google Sheets spreadsheet for tracking my writing. Basically, it asks if I wrote that day, whether the day was a designated writing day, if I met the 45-minute goal, and what my word count is or was. It kind of looks like I'm asking the same thing over and over again, but I wanted to gather like more information on my actual writing habit, because I can write on a non-writing day and I can write and not hit the 45 minutes, things like that. So having the extra questions just gives me a little bit more information on what I'm actually getting done and when. So that's it. This is definitely a long video, and I appreciate you sitting through it with me. If you made it this far, please leave me a bell emoji so we can ring in the new year. That's cute, actually. I hope you know that you're here with a little bell. So to recap, in 2024, I wrote about 250,000 words. I did 2 drafts of my fantasy novel, and then I am a quarter way through my 3rd draft. And in 2025 Q1, I want to finish draft 3 and send it off to betas, write/edit for 45 minutes a day on designated writing days, and then increase my YouTube subscribers by 20, 30, or 50%. Fingers crossed that I get it done. Just let me know what some of your goals are down below. I'm rooting for you, and I hope 2025 is your best creative year yet. Thank you so much for watching. I wish everybody the happiest new year. I will see you in 2025. Bye.